And we are live. I didn't think it was ever going to get started. It is NBA Live Before Lock, Tuesday, April 22nd. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. I'm swapping the guys out now. It was solo shows last week. I got Greg yesterday. I got Eric back today. We've got 3 games ahead of us: Milwaukee and Indiana. We've got Memphis and OKC. And we've got Minnesota and the Lakers late night hammer. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. Good to have you back, brother. Let's have some fun today.
Good to be back. Yeah, ready to have some fun here. Obviously, 3 games I'm looking forward to. I'm in a moral debacle. Do I go to the Timberwolves game and overspend for tickets, or do I not? We will find out here tonight. But regardless, you introed that, swapping out guys. Are you Kanye? What's going on? Like, also, is yesterday one of the weirdest days ever? The Pope dies. Kanye says the weirdest thing I've ever seen, which is saying something for Kanye. Like, what happened yesterday?
Was a weird one. Not sure why EA needed to put that truth out, but you know, whatever. Good for him. Hope he can deal with his issues from the past. Maybe that's the problem in all of this.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Down goes the Pope. I don't know. Don't really have a lot to say on that one. Not my genre.
Oh man. Yeah, it was one of the stranger days that I can ever remember. So I'm looking forward to like a normal basketball day here with normal baseball, and yeah, I'm ready to rock. I missed it. What? Yeah, Malakar. Go ahead and use the Google machine on that one. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. There might be a laundry list of what did Kanye just say posts that are out there, but look for a friend in the past. I wish that we were going to talk about Memphis first, because I could have really transitioned into a Memphis pun for Kanye, but we're not going to go there first. We're going to take a lap through each and every team quickly. We'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks. They dropped their first game. It didn't go well for them, but help is on the way. Damian Lillard expected to play today, currently unowned at 8K on DraftKings, 8K on FanDuel. Let's just start here, since this is the most important question. Do you want to get to Dame? Do you think you'll get to Dame? Do you think you should get to Dame?
Oh man, you're asking like the craziest question. And I will say this, the prop market was pretty confident just throwing out numbers early. Like, normally you see them play this very close to the vest. Now, one thing I tried to do was short Ryan Rollins. Tried to do it. That got ripped off the board pretty much immediately once that news came out. But they didn't introduce a majority of them. Most places you were looking at some pick'em spots, but we don't have to talk about him anymore. I don't feel as confident as what it feels everybody else is to just set his points line at 18.5 to be able to basically say that, you know, he's playing right around 30 minutes, which is where books have him projected. We have him for 31. If he played a little bit more or a little bit less, I mean, obviously, can he get there from pure shooting at 8K? I still think so in 30 minutes. Like, there's a world where it happens, but there's so many guys he has to beat out. I have 0. I probably will roll out 0. I mean, can you make any case for it? Because obviously I see 0 on the page right there.
No, not really. The only like glass half full idea that I have here is that by being able to take off as much time as he did, and knowing that it's the type of injury where you have to not do anything, like you don't want to catch your clot. So maybe that helped nagging injuries. Maybe his knees feel better. Maybe his ankles feel better. Maybe his hips feel better. Maybe he just feels in general better, and he doesn't have his sea legs under him. But at 8K, you said, you know, he can get there from shooting. We have his target score at 8K at 50, which is 9% of the time that he does that. If he scores 50 fantasy points and he plays 30 minutes, that's 1.67 fantasy points per minute. That's not crazy. That's obviously like a ridiculous game. You have to shoot the lights out for something like that. I just don't know if we have to like try to force that. What if he's not back all the way? What if he's limited more than we think he is? Like, I'm not sure we're going to be squeezing enough out of this one.
And that's kind of the main thing, is like, we have so many guards that are projected for over 36 minutes today. So you're 6 minutes light on going to Dame. and then you need the most outlier shooting performance. When I'm saying that I think he can get there from like raw shooting, it's just that we've seen it. Like we've seen it in our lifetime from Damian Lillard multiple times, especially in like playoff scenarios, going up against the Clippers at times, whether it was the Paul George shot. Like we've just seen so much ridiculous hot shooting from Dame come now, and obviously this was probably something where if they had absolutely had to have him for game one, like absolutely had to have him for game one, I'm sure you could have done it. But like, I think you probably just analyze everything after game one. It's like, all right, it's not like he was just sitting around doing nothing. I mean, I got to assume there's going to be an opportunity for Dame to go out. He's starting tonight. He could get there, but obviously it's going to hinder some guys on the other side. But the next talking point is just basically Giannis relative to all of the other spend ups we have, like Luka and things of that nature. Giannis is like a 1.65 guy that we've currently got in our projections in the data hub over at the Sims tool. And when I saw that, it just kind of became an auto click. Like Giannis is the guy whose minutes could get to like 41, 42 if you absolutely needed to here for game two. You don't want to go down 0-2. History has shown us down 0-2 is a disaster in the NBA. So like this thing stays remotely competitive. He could play the entire second half. And I think that's very, very live. And at 11.9 power forward, I think he's probably the easiest click of the entire day for me, including some of the value that we have.
He was for me earlier today. I still have quite a bit of him. He's the same story on FanDuel. He looks great either spot, 44% owned, 49% optimal in the boom bust tool. He does grade out as the number one guy. I am over the field at 50%. But as of right now, I have a little bit more of Luka. Okay. But I don't want to undersell it here. Like Giannis looks great. He has had like major rate changes over the past like 4 to 5 weeks with Dame gone. I'm really curious to see how that changes heading back into the playoffs because they kind of need him to continue to just have the ball all the time and do everything. They don't have other guys that are any good at it. See Kyle Kuzma. So I'm going to end up with a ton of Giannis. The problem here is that like I don't think there's anything else really interesting for Milwaukee. I don't have 10% of anybody else. Only Bobby Portis is projected for more than 10% ownership. Technically, Taurean Prince got to 12% on FanDuel, but it's not like that's exciting. What else do you like here for Milwaukee?
Okay, I was about to ask you about a bet that I was looking at that I haven't bet yet, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the program. Bobby Portis. I really like Bobby Portis for today. I know it's scary because the minutes are very, very, it would appear, I mean, Brook Lopez, they're going to be negatively correlated. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis not sharing the floor. Now, is that a process? Like, is that a product of just the ridiculous game script that they had there against Indy? Indy basically smacked them in the mouth early. Shout out the Indy crowd. That was like our jumping off point into the playoffs, basically. I felt like Indy really rocked it and really brought it there. For the playoffs. Caitlin Clark on her phone. Shout out Caitlin Clark. But anyway, I definitely like Bobby Portis out there potentially getting more minutes than the 23 we have projected. He's a great fantasy producer. He was just working himself back as well, and he got up to 33 minutes. They sat him out the last regular season game, but the game before it, 33 minutes. And like, there's a ceiling on the minutes. There's room for it to grow. He's got a $5,200 price tag. When you think about winning tournaments in single entry today, I think he's definitely a very, very interesting target. I didn't see his. I'm updating my ownership here right now because this is such an important part of like 3-game slates playoff time, being very sensitive to what some of the ownership is going to be. But I think at like 15% ownership, I'm going to definitely be over top of that for Portis.
Yeah, I'm a little light on him right now, but I wouldn't mind getting to some more. I mean, maybe they're not super enamored with that Kyle Kuzma performance from game one, and they want to get Portis out there for a little bit more offense.
Get ready to learn Chinese,
Dame,
buddy.
Yeah, Dame coming back definitely makes it so that you need less offense, but where else are you going to get it from? That's the tricky part for me. I wouldn't mind being right around the field. I have no problems getting to Portis, but like Taurean Prince, Kuzma, Lopez, Trent, AJ Green, there's nothing else here for me. You can't trust Kevin Porter Jr. right now. If Dame's back, we don't know. Like the push pull of minutes here is going to be really interesting. Gary Trent would be the guy that I'd have like mild interest in just because he works in any scenario. He's got the cheap price tag. He's got the good positionality. I got one share of him. He ranks 41st in the boom bust tool. So it's not like I could say too much here.
Yeah, I have zero other Milwaukee Bucks besides those three. I had a couple shares of Brook Lopez. I'm playing 40 lineups tonight, playing single entry, kind of focusing on that one the most out of everything else, 20 max for the others. But I really like the idea of getting to Bobby Portis. I had Brook Lopez. I think I'm just going to reduce it because Dame and Giannis on the floor together with Brook Lopez, you basically need to walk into that outlier shooting performance. And with power forward center eligibility for Giannis, with power forward eligibility for a couple of other guys, Julius Randle. We've got Pascal Siakam power forward. Like, I just find it a little bit unnecessary. I think, it can, how many times have we, over the course of the last couple of years, just ran into like, oh, Brook Lopez hit 4 threes in the first quarter. It's always scary. It's something that can happen, but like, I'm not too worried about it. I know that sounds just kind of what it is, but yeah, I want 0 of him. I'm just more in the Bobby Portis corner for today.
All right, let's get to the Pacers then, because they're a very different team. The Pacers are the most owned team on today's slate by quite a bit. They've got like the second most owned team has 145% ownership. Indy has 224. 40%
Really?
to Halliburton.
Oh,
yeah, 40% to Halliburton, 40 to Siakam, 40 to Turner, 30 to Mathurin, 30 to Nembhard, 20 to Neesmith, 10 to McConnell. They're all getting it. In our boom bust tool, Siakam ranks second, Turner's third, Halliburton fourth, Nembhard fifth, Mathurin seventh. They have 5 guys in the top 10. Who do you like the most?
I like Pascal Siakam the most, 6,900, sub 7K. At the moment, he's the guy that I'm definitely going to be getting to the most, as you said, second in the boom bust tool. I basically just copy paste that over into a spreadsheet and kind of use that for years and years and years. It's kind of like setting baselines for things. I would be hard pressed to not have at least 50% Pascal Siakam when everything is all said and done based on my earlier exposures. And, other than just getting Damian Lillard for sure solidified, or maybe we do get a minutes number for him or something of that extent, like nothing's going to drastically change from what I had earlier to what I have now, just as I'm looking at it, unless ownership really flips on some guys. And I think Memphis is really where I'm highlighting that. For Indy, I want to get to a smattering of these guys. Miles Turner, I'm actually a little bit under on the field right now, but 6,100, totally get it if you want to go there. And it's not like I have 0, I have 30% of him. Tyrese Halliburton, have right around 30% of him as well. So I'm underneath the field. His optimal score is a lot lower than what we have, for some of these other point guards. And point guard definitely is an interesting position. And as you're building out, 1-2 lineups, Andrew Nembhard ends up kind of being the other priority for me because of the shooting guard eligibility, sub 5K. And I mean, whether it's the Canadian national team, the guy is just such a good defender. He is such a damn good on-ball defender and does so many good things. Some of their defensive rating splits with him on and off the floor in NBA.com are just kind of nuts. And Andrew Nembhard just ends up being very important to this team. If it stays more competitive, I mean, we have him for sub 32 minutes. He plays kind of the same positions there as Benedict Mathurin, as what you've got there with Tyrese Halliburton. But I've always been a big Andrew Nembhard fan. He played over Jamal Murray at the Olympics for a reason. He is such a great playoff asset. And I see 55% on your screen as well. So he's at 42% of my lineups at the moment.
Yeah, Nembhard's the guy that I can't get away from. The minutes are there. The price tag works. The position works. The flexibility is just super easy to grab from Nembhard. So I don't have anything to add there. Halliburton is the guy that scares me. It's a big fade. I have 20%. He's 44% owned. I love the matchup for him. Milwaukee's not great in the pick and roll. Halliburton is as good as it gets in the pick and roll. I actually think it's better for him if Dame is back. The defense is worse if Dame is on the floor, oddly enough. Yeah. I like everything for Halliburton. He's just not in my lineups. 34% optimal, 44% owned. He's a little over owned for me, and I think that's what's happening here. Scares the shit out of me, though.
Well, there's just other guys that aren't as represented at the point guard position, and Halliburton, I think the other thing is just like we saw a pretty solidified role. I didn't know what they were going to do with TJ McConnell. We saw so many weird iterations last year, but don't forget Tyrese Halliburton was hurt. That shoulder was hurt the entire playoffs. And so I didn't know. I thought there was a chance last time out. This might have been a little extreme, but like I thought there was a chance TJ McConnell would have played like 8 minutes. Now it got out of hand. Yeah. It got ridiculous. And I still think it's live. So like I have 0 TJ McConnell right now. I probably want to change that when it's all said and done because I kind of just did some shifting around of things. I'm not saying that I'm going to go crazy with Tyrese Halliburton as a result. I just think that there's some other point guards we'll talk about later. SGA, Luka. I mean, there's definitely some interesting point guards in terms of value as well to potentially shift off of some of these other pieces. But I think he's just going to constantly end up like getting this ownership throughout these playoffs. And I wouldn't be shocked if they just, in a competitive game, really were light on some of his minutes, because they've just done that in the past. And then this year, it's kind of been all over the place. We haven't had like the Super Saiyan type ceiling TJ McConnell in relief of Tyrese Halliburton. So now he's pulling 28% ownership with Tyrese Halliburton in a competitive spot in the fourth quarter. You might see 2-4 minutes for him, and that might be it. And I think that really limits what I'm looking at for him.
I wish I had none. I didn't really want any, but getting so much Luka and Giannis is kind of getting me there. I'm getting to everything that I would want to get to, except for Halliburton. Like over on Nembhard, light on Neesmith, but I'm okay with that. He gets in so much foul trouble that he's the type of guy that I'd be fine with being light on. While I'm light on Siakam, he's also in 35% of my lineup. So it's
hang on. I have something wrong in my sheet. TJ McConnell pulling 15%. No, he's 11%. Okay. I had it on, where did this go? McConnell. Okay, on FanDuel that I had. Oh my God, no, I'm playing FanDuel too. So I wanted to at least, before I continued on, say that I had FanDuel pasted, and that's when I was referring to the ownership on TJ McConnell.
I'm a little over on Benedict Mathurin, which if I'm going to be light on Neesmith, I'd rather be over on Mathurin. I think those two guys have a natural push-pull. A little bit of value on McConnell, nothing crazy, but it's the Halliburton piece. I dug in on him on the strategy show and didn't like what I saw because I was fading him then and everything looks good for him. And now I'm fading him again today at night and everything still looks good for him. But guy I want the most here is absolutely Andrew Nembhard.
I wanted to bring up this too, because I just thought it was fun before. I have all of my other stuff from the other day. Where did it go? Now it just disappeared from me. We're going to advanced.
Where did it go?
Again, it's whatever. My brain is all over the place per usual. But because it just shifted to the playoffs now. Regular season defensive rating, Andrew Nembhard on the floor. 110.2 there with him off the floor. For Indy this season, Andrew Nembhard 113. So not as extreme as what it ended up earlier in the season. First half of the season was just an extreme split, but still, I really feel confident about the minutes for Andrew Nembhard. He's such a good playoff asset.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Let's get out of this first game. Let's get on to the next one. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet, everybody. We got to talk about Memphis trying to save face against OKC. They got absolutely embarrassed in their opener. I think this is the spot where we really just don't know what's going to happen. We have a different coach. We have a team that got beat by 51 in their opener. We don't have anybody really breaking free from ownership other than John Conchar. Morant's 15, Pippen's 15, Bane's 15, Edie's 15, Aldama's 15, Conchar's like 25. What the hell do we do here? Do they mix it up? Do they change up their rotation? Should we be paying attention to different guys? Do you just think they rebound here and we should be looking heavily at Morant and Bane and Jackson? I find this to be the most interesting spot of the day.
Yeah, by far to me. I think if you could tell me the minutes of one team on today's slate, I pick Memphis, not even remotely close. Like if you could tell me concrete who played what minutes, I would choose Memphis, mainly because the John Conchar piece checks in right there, right off the bat with Santi Aldama. And then it ends up being this Marvin Bagley thing, which I really hadn't thought about there for that first slate. I thought there was a chance that, like most people, Marvin Bagley would just be completely out of there. Now, he had been in the rotation a couple of those games, but just later in the season, even with Memphis, with the coaching change, everything else, just wasn't sure what was going on there. And now it's like, all right, if they're going to have Aldama Conchar be like first guys in, I still think Marvin Bagley probably has a low ceiling, low floor as far as what those minutes can be. And so I get why the ownership is where it is, but like that is a lot of ownership on John Conchar to be embracing for a guy who's one, not a good fantasy producer. Two, he could definitely see a major fluctuation in his minutes for better or for worse, and it may not even matter. And so it's just more of like lineup filler at sub 4K on FanDuel, and like over on DK, he's way cheaper where you have an opportunity to just get to Giannis, Luka, move on with your life. John Morant is really interesting. I mean, John Morant is probably the guy that I'm going to die with. I talked about being underweight to Tyrese Halliburton. It's just historical pricing on John Morant. And I know Oklahoma City, when you talk about how incredible this defense is and gotten even better when they're going to play Alex Caruso more minutes in times when they actually need to. You have Luke Dort out there, Jalen Williams out there. It's absolutely absurd. Not to even mention the point guard on the other side, SGA, which, pretty good in his own right. So John Morant, though, is 7,800 on DK and nobody cares. He's sub 20% owned. I don't know if I end up I thought I was going to jam it at that number, but if you get a competitive game, which is asking a lot for a 14.5 point spread, it's really hard to imagine John Morant not working out for you. What do you have his target score at?
49.
God.
Which he does 26% of the time.
Well, and he's 15% out. So oh man, the idea of John Morant is better than I think actually the utility of John Morant, if that makes any sense. The idea of playing him at sub 8K and just getting to tons of him while everybody else jams a 45% Halliburton sounds great in theory until this is a 20-point game at halftime. So I don't know what to tell you. It's really, really hard because Oklahoma City, as good as they are, there's an even better level of basketball coming forward for them. They kept the fastest paced team in the NBA around 80 points, at 80 points. It's just an absurd defensive squad that can squander you, make everything difficult on your life. They don't have to play the Wigginses and the Joes in games that are more competitive. They don't have to do this kind of stuff. They have all the pieces you would want. Could have probably got something else at the deadline. I know you talked about that in depth, but I would probably just want to get to some more John Morant out of principle, but Scottie Pippen Jr., I get why that ownership's there. He's been starting. It just makes sense to get to a little bit of him. Desmond Bane, a little bit of him. What do you think about Zach Edey? Is this the spot where it just flips on him? Where, if they go small, Jaren Jackson Jr., sweet, awesome. They had that John Contrast spot. Probably works out for you a little bit there, but what do you think about Zach Edey's minutes in the rest of this series?
It's hard to say because everybody sucked in the first game. It's
Correct.
not like it was just Edey. They blew across the board. Desmond Bane was negative 51. Everybody has to suck everything for that to happen. It doesn't feel like they want to play him much less. I have 2%. It does feel natural that they do play him less and start going to more of Jackson at the 5. I think they're just worried about foul trouble. I think they're basically trying to tread water in the first half and then unleash something like that in the second half. But I think it's way more likely that Zach Edey becomes a guy that gets less minutes in this series than more minutes in this series, or at least maintains 30 plus.
Yeah, so I see the ownership on the screen there once again for you, and I currently have just a little bit more than the field, but I don't want to, so I'm going to probably get rid of that here when it's all said and done. But I gave him a little bit of a boost earlier because I was just kind of thinking, it's maybe, everything that we saw in the first game just doesn't apply. And I think that's what's really so frustrating about it. You're Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard didn't show up until they were down infinity in a fourth quarter. Is Luke Kennard just out of the rotation? What's going on?
I can't really figure it out myself. I don't understand. I would have thought they'd be playing him because he's not I don't think Luke Kennard's amazing, but he's one of the best players that they can play right now, especially with no Jalen Wells in here. I thought he would get time. He is very clearly not getting time. Now, maybe he does today. Maybe today is the day that he does get time. Maybe this is the change. Maybe Vince Williams doesn't play. Maybe John Conchar plays less. And Luke Kennard goes from not playing to 20 minutes. That is in the cards today.
Yeah, if you just try to up variance in basketball, if you're trying to compete with a team that you're just not better than, Luke Kennard's the guy you put out on the floor. So I don't know what to make of the fact that he didn't show up in the first three quarters when they're down infinity. But that's obviously glaring to me because Luke Kennard has been one of the best 3-point shooters. Talk about what you want with the defense, but at a certain point, you got to score and you got to spread the floor for Ja, and you got to do as much as possible to help him out in any way, shape, or form. I think Luke Kennard does that better than a Scottie Pippen does, but yet I don't know what to make of it. Maybe they're just punting on the whole thing in general because it's like, well, shit, we're playing OKC, we're fucked. So that's fine. But like Luke Kennard at flat 3K, I just want to throw out in the same way that I can't remember who it was that you talked about on the Milwaukee side. Oh, Gary Trent. Like Luke Kennard is Gary Trent here, but projected for 15 fewer minutes and should be doing like in essence the same thing for the same role. Only difference is that it's like a 10-point difference in the spreads.
What are you getting to here for Memphis? Because for me, it's Conchar and Aldama, and then I'm either barely with or under the field on everybody else. I'm under on Morant. I'm barely with Pippen. I'm under on Bane. I don't have Jackson. I essentially don't have Edie. I have Aldama, Conchar, and Bagley. I thought it was the playoffs. Those are not the names that I'm supposed to have in the playoffs. Aldama, Conchar, Bagley. Is this the G League playoffs? Is this Europe?
Tighter pricing. It's just, we're getting to guys that just are uncomfortable now. We always ask for this time of year where it's like, oh, finally, we're going to roster the good guys. And then we have to remember, oh, shit, Marvin Bagley is going to play like 15 and a half minutes and we should get to 10% of him. And you're like, what am I actually doing today with my life? But it is what it is. Like, there's such good chalk, and like Nembhard, I think, is really good chalk. I think Giannis is amazing chalk, but like, there's some really uncomfortable clicks. And I think the Memphis side, something could really skew in your direction. Once again, I would want to see the minutes of this team more than any other team on the slate, purely because I think that there are options that are 3K, whether that's Bagley, Williams, Kennard, and then there's mid-range options. Everybody on this team is sub 8K, and we know they're going to go out and play at a breakneck pace no matter how they're doing. We just hope that maybe they do well. And if you told me the minutes of this team, I'd feel much more confident about this slate.
All right, let's hop over to Oklahoma City. We'll talk about this Thunder team. They just dominated in game one. We have one guy separating from the pack for the Thunder from an ownership perspective, obviously. It's Alex Caruso, who we have projected for 17 and a half minutes. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 3,400. 30% optimal, 30% owned, 30% of my lineups. Yeah, I'd like to have a lot of Caruso. He's great value. He's a good per minute guy. This is, to me, the best play on OKC.
It's the best play on OKC, and I love it if I'm going to play Memphis. Like, don't you? Like, I think Alex Caruso, along with Memphis guys, I almost made a rule. I haven't done a lot of like rule making lately in the old NBA. Obviously, you can set it, forget it, do what you want. But I'm playing Alex Caruso. I currently have two Memphis guys along with it in the lineup, and it just makes me feel better about playing them in like a single entry. If you're hand building, I think that it's a strong consideration to get some Memphis guys along with Alex Caruso. And then in the event that, we're talking like three guys. So it's not like some crazy correlation thing where I'm game stacking and Alex Caruso's coming along for the ride for everything. But I do think that I feel better about some of the Memphis pieces I have in my lineup, because if Caruso just flat out fails, I got to think that my lineup was dead as is. If Caruso has a good game, it probably means that he walked into at least 18 minutes, 17 minutes. Target score 27 there on the screen. Like, I would think you're looking for 20, 22 minutes more than likely in order to get there. Maybe like a 1.2 rate for him over the course of the game. And then having some Memphis guys that come along for the ride, if that's Ja, if that's Edie, if that's Jaren Jackson Jr., some of these other guys, I think it really makes sense on this specific slate.
Chalk Landale listed out for Wednesday.
What are we going to do?
Everything changed. Everything changed. Yeah, I got a bunch of Caruso here, and then I don't know how you separate these OKC guys. One, the line is 14 and a half, so it feels like they're just going to bludgeon them again. But I'm light on SGA. I've got a lot of Luka. I've got a lot of Giannis. You've got 3 pay-ups today. You can't play them all. It seems like SGA is the guy that's slipping through the cracks for me. I am getting some Chet. I have a little Hartenstein. I have essentially no Jalen Williams, a little bit of Dort, a little bit of Case and Wallace. But it's fine. I'm finding it hard to find like priorities for OKC other than that Caruso value. Like, it's just like when you start comparing all of these guys to other people in their salary tier, and they just don't look better. Like SGA just doesn't look better than Luka and Giannis. Like there are better center options than Isaiah Hartenstein. There are better small forward, power forward type options than Jalen Williams. We just have better options across the board.
Yeah, this will be better in a more competitive series where OKC goes on the road and takes on a Golden State or a Houston or something like later on in the Western Conference Finals. But like right now, I'm with you. I think that they just have 9 guys. They're playing 9 guys, and that's different than some of these other teams where the minutes are really trimmed. I mean, even going to the Memphis side, you've got sub 20 minutes for 2 of the like 9 guys that they're going to be rolling out. We've got a couple of that here too. Joe, Caruso, Wiggins. But Wiggins is 5,300, whereas everybody, like those 3 Memphis guys that I just talked about, they're all sub 3,500. So like, if I'm going to dice roll some spots, I'm going to go to the Memphis side of this one more so than the OKC side. Alex Caruso is not in that conversation, I suppose, considering he just kind of works in lineups. But for me, I like Lou Dort a little bit more than you do. Shooting guard, small forward, 4,300. Sometimes he feels like he can make every shot, and those are the kind of days that you really want him to have. And I do think that Lou Dort, if in a game that they're up 10, 15, he maybe takes a couple more ill-advised threes, and that sounds great to me. Let's do that, Lou. But shooting guard, small forward, playing comfortable minutes, out there for his defense. Whatever you get from him, offense is splendid. Hopefully he has a decent game because I've got 32% of him. So he's the one other OKC guy outside of Caruso that I'm getting to. I have like borderline no Isaiah Hartenstein. I have borderline no SGA because of the point guard position specifically, and Luka we'll talk about later. But Chet Holmgren's fine. I think being around the field just fine. But Caruso, Dort, my 2 guys.
All righty. 2 games down. We've got 1 game left to go. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. We're also live on Playback right now. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Dropping the link into chat. We'll be live after this show as well. 7 o'clock, myself and Greg. We're going to watch Milwaukee and Indy for a bit. Maybe we'll catch a little bit of Memphis and OKC. You guys can subscribe now at Playback and see all of these national TV games while we're watching them. So come on into Playback at 7 o'clock tonight and do that. Or maybe that's not your cup of tea. Maybe you're a sports bettor. Maybe you want the Portfolio EV tool for a trial, a 7-day free trial if you've never signed up there before. Link in the description. We're sharing the Portfolio EV tool on Playback right now, giving you the best possible bets available on OddsShopper. We have mass bets, parlay builders, odds boost calculators, mobile app with notifications for the exact bets you're looking for. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description. 7-day free trial. Always. You could always come check this out if you never have before. All right, 1 more to go. It's the one you want. It's the late night hammer. Minnesota Timberwolves, 5.5 point favorites in LA, taking on the Lakers. Picked up the dub in game 1. Good news for Minnesota is they don't do shit different from their regular season rotation. They play 8 guys. They're not really playing anybody else, and we could talk about it pretty easily. And they're very interesting because Mike Conley's essentially not getting ownership. Rudy Gobert is essentially not getting ownership. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is essentially not getting ownership. Edwards, McDaniels, and Randall are all about 25. DiVincenzo is a little over 30. Naz Reid is just north of 10. Who is your favorite Minnesota Timberwolf?
Julius Randle. Good times. It's going to be Julius Randle. I'm a little surprised to see the Dante DiVincenzo ownership. That game went about as smooth as humanly possible for Minnesota. From beginning to end, you couldn't have asked for a better situation other than maybe Luka going completely Super Saiyan in that first quarter. Once you got Naz Reid checking into that game, it just went off the rails. But we're getting a really cheap Julius Randle here yet again. And I don't know what to make of the Mike Conley, or sometimes it ends up being a lot more minutes of Nickeil Alexander-Walker sometimes over him. I'm curious what happens in a game where we're down 10 in a third quarter. And that's kind of what I'm going to ask you. Like, who walks into the most minutes in like an actual meaningful closing lineup here? Because like Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think, are really, really difficult to parse through. And then you add in Dante DiVincenzo. He's just pulling all of the ownership over those 2 guys. And I'm not saying that it's wrong because 4,200 for Dante DiVincenzo, he's the best fantasy producer of all of them. But like, I don't feel great about parsing through the minutes of those 3 specifically. It's just been like a hot hand approach at times, whether it was the Denver game, which, was its own special thing for Nickeil Alexander-Walker at the end of that. at the end of that regular season. I just kind of look at everybody, like those three guards, is very, very difficult to parse through. So for me, I feel the most comfortable getting to around 40% Julius Randle. I have like 4 power forwards in a lot of lineups today between Portis, Aldama, Randall, Giannis. Like there's just so many of these guys that just stand out today. That's really the premium position for me. But do you have any kind of a feel for Conley, DiVincenzo, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Because this is my team, and I'm just like, yo, if Noah plays 32 minutes today, I'm not shocked at all.
No, I tend to lean towards DiVincenzo because he's got the shooting piece of it here. Like if he just gets hot early, he plays more. He takes minutes from whoever. Nickeil Alexander-Walker just scares me. Not a good enough per minute guy. I just think Conley's cooked. Like he's going to fall into some extra minutes every once in a while. I don't love this series for him. So if I'm picking between those three, it is DiVincenzo. I like the flexibility. The price tag's pretty decent. I'm actually over the field on him right now. I'm with you on Randall, though. 6,700 is too cheap for that dude. He's in 30% of my stuff, a little bit over that 20% mark that we have projected. I'm a little over on McDaniels. That one I don't love. Okay. His role is just defense. Like his entire focus is whoever the good player that's on the floor at that time is, he has to try to be involved. And I wonder if that just takes him out of the offense a little bit, kind of mutes his ceiling, but I'm a little over the field on him too. I've got some Ant, nothing crazy. I've got some Naz Reid, nothing crazy. But the guy that I have 3 guys in the 30s. It's McDaniels, it's Randall, and it's DiVincenzo.
Yeah, I get it. I'm going to be getting some Nickeil Alexander-Walker when it's all said and done. He played 33 minutes against Utah. That was basically not an elimination game, but Minnesota, that was a have to have it, gotta have it kind of game to get the 6th seed. Like you can't lose to Utah in the last game of the regular season. And he played 33 fucking minutes. And that's just a massive ceiling that we're looking at for him, where it's just like, he's just not represented at all. And I said it about the Luke Kennard one, and I feel far less confident in him. Obviously, we're talking a 13-minute difference in our projections for minutes, but my God, Nickeil Alexander-Walker has made me more money in postseasons the last, last year he was a print fest in the postseason. Like he was the guy that nobody played on any slate. And I would come here and I would say, just jam that dude. One of them was a Mike Conley injury, so I'm not going to take too much credit for it. I think Tom ended up winning 100K or 150K on that slate because I was just like, hey, reach out to somebody and see what happens. But we ended up finding out very, very late after lock that Mike Conley was out for that game. But I'm not saying he's going to be out here. Mike Conley's very much in, but I do think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a better closing lineup guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves than a Mike Conley. You talked about it in the series. Where do you hide him when you have Austin Reeves, Luka, and LeBron James on a floor? I don't see it. And Na is just the much better fit. So we have him at 22 minutes. If you just made that 30 and Mike Conley 20, some kind of maybe 2 minutes of overlap, I'm not surprised. So at 8%, I am well overweight to Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
I don't have any, but I would like to have at least a little bit. I like the flexibility, just another value guy for me to get to Luka, for me to get to Giannis, for me to get to both of those guys, apparently, because that's what I'm doing. He might be a guy that I end up bumping in a bit. I think I'm going to have to do that. Because he can get those minutes. Like,
I mean, you just saw 33.
They're flexible in that
game.
spot.
Yeah, it's just like glaring at you. It's just like, do I think a majority of the time Nickeil Alexander-Walker gets to 33 minutes? Absolutely not. That's an asinine thing to say. But if he knocks down shots early, you want him on the floor for defense here. You just do. You can't have, whether it was with Memphis, whether it was with Utah, Mike Conley has issues with defense in the postseason, not generally speaking, but like there's just things that haven't worked for him in playoff basketball. And that is completely fixed by the existence out of the middle of nowhere of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he's one of the best plays relative to ownership on the slate. So watch him play 18 minutes today. Go me. That'll be great.
All right, let's move it over to the Lakers and finish this one off. We'll get through every one of these teams. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. We'll get into all our fun things after this one. We've got Luka, 25% owned. Austin Reeves, 20% owned. LeBron, 20% owned. Rui, 15. Dorian Finney-Smith just on the outside at 10. Now he's 30 on FanDuel, so very different. Luka, LeBron, and Rui are 1, 2, 4 on FanDuel. I have 55% Luka on my last run. You're expecting north of 40 minutes. They want to win this game. They're at home. 10-8 for Luka Doncic. I can't get away from him, especially if he's going to be 25% owned.
He's just awesome. I mean, he's just awesome. This is such an easy click. And
yeah,
as much as Minnesota tried last year, he's just got the size to get shots off over McDaniels, to get shots off over Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So like he's immune to matchup here, despite Minnesota being able to do that against other teams. And, you know, while I think Austin Reeves, I'm fascinated by the Austin Reeves piece because even at 6,800, I'm not getting to him at all. Talk to me about Austin Reeves. You got him in a 30-year lineups right now.
Yeah, 6,800, point guard, shooting guard eligible. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little nervous about it. He is someone that scares me for today. You know, you look at rates since Luka's been there. You look at his assist rate, which is 24% on the season. That peaked in like January. For the past month, it's been like 18. Little scary, right? You know, defensive rebounding has been up and down. Usage rate, which was, you know, around 23% for most of the season, 20, 21, a little bit lower. But they don't have anybody that can do anything. So if it's not Luka or LeBron, it's got to be Austin Reeves. So I'm just going to take the path of, I expect one of those three guys to be pretty good today. I think if the Lakers want to win, two of those three guys are pretty good today, and I'm over the field on all three of them.
Okay. I mean, obviously, it is another one of those price tags, kind of like Randall with me today. You wake up, you upload it, and you're like, wow, 6,800 Austin Reeves is a low number. But
yeah,
you brought up the rates. You also are looking at a total that sitting around 210, not the most comfortable thing in the entire world to be staring at and clicking on Austin Reeves still. It's just, he had an inflated price tag because of some of the games he had absent one of those two. And now with everybody playing in increased minutes, it's like Austin Reeves has to play 38 minutes to feel really, really good in that kind of a spot at 0.95 fantasy points per minute. But yeah, I really was not getting to him. I'll make an adjustment and make sure that I get a little bit there. LeBron totally makes sense. This is a game where you could see the minutes just get surged. He has small forward eligibility, which I think is useful for sure. Because think of these other Muppets that we're playing, as Ben Raza would say, at the small forward position. We're clicking on some goobers. I feel a lot better about him. Rui's fine if you want to get him in a couple of lineups. Not a priority by any means. And nobody's really saying that whatsoever. Is Dorian Finney-Smith interesting to you at all?
A little bit. I mean, he has to play a ton. He's not a great per minute guy. 0.59 is where we have him today, but 4K. Nice. You'd like it for him to be small forward, power forward, and not power forward center. But I mean, I have 13%. I think he's a reasonable value option.
Okay. I'm pasting this over right now, and then I will probably get to a little bit. I had 0 at the moment, so that's cool. But again, 40 lineup is what it is. But
one thing I think we should point out today, Lakers Timberwolves don't play again until Friday. They're not back on Thursday. It's not one day off, it's 2. Mm-hmm. You could see LeBron play 42, 43 minutes today because you have that extra day of rest. Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, the amount I have a lot of like LeBron's in my main lineup, so he's not going anywhere. I'm playing LeBron.
Well, we've talked about all of these things. We've gone through 3 games. Now we got to give you guys like the most concise information possible. We want to let you know who the best possible plays are. Like sometimes we call them nukes. Oh man, that is never not fun to me. Got a lot of options for who could be the nuke of the night tonight. We haven't had your picks for nuke of the night in a while. Who is it today?
Yeah, I'm not going to go crazy chalky. I mean, I just brought him up, so it is what it is. LeBron James is 20% owned, in a game that they absolutely have to have. You don't go down 0-2 in the NBA, especially when you're the 3 seed at home with Luka Doncic on your team. LeBron James should play like 40 minutes tonight. I don't see a lot of scenarios. We have him at 37.5. If you get into a third, fourth quarter situation where things are even in flux whatsoever, he's getting ripped off the bench by JJ Redick and getting thrown in by his podcast buddy. There's just nothing that can happen for LeBron James here outside of injury where he doesn't get to that number, in my opinion. He is a 1.25 fantasy point per minute guy with Luka there. He is still that dude. And against Minnesota, you just got to find a way to win this game no matter what. 9,200 for him, small forward eligibility. LeBron James, I don't think I've ever nuked him of the night. So first time for everything, nuke of the night.
You love to see it, brother. You love to see it. I like it. I have no problem with the call at all. He is not my most exposed guy, though, although I do have more than the field.
He's not mine either, but, he's my favorite play relative to ownership.
I'm trying to talk a little slower right now and kill some time because I'm watching the bar on the screen climb and climb to run my final set of lineups. But it doesn't appear to be ending as fast as I would like it to. So I'm just going to do the simple thing right now. You're going to take LeBron James as your nuke of the night. To me, a very reasonable stance. He's a fantastic basketball player. But it appears that I have rambled long enough to be able to refresh my sheet with my updated lineups and copy them over, maybe. Yes, that is correct. I am able to do that, which means today's nuke of the night has come down, but I'm going to stick with it. You're going LeBron. Give me Luka Doncic. Dallas's own Luka Doncic, 10-8. 47% of my lineups currently projected for 25% ownership.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of Giannis. I'm playing a lot of LeBron, playing a lot of Luka. I think it's that kind of a slate where those three specifically are just really, 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 really hard to not play lots of. So yeah, I've got at least 45% of all three. Let's get it done.
I have 34% of LeBron, so I am right there with you. No disagreement. Those are pretty good nukes. Like, whether you're getting to LeBron or whether you're getting to Luka Doncic, I think we're putting you on a pretty good nuke. But even more important than a nuke...
God, no. I thought we weren't going to do it.
White of the night. Here we go. Nuke of the night in business. White of the night is here. Eric, who is tonight's white of the night?
Oh my gosh. Do I want to just get absolutely ridiculous with this? I really don't think that I can. I don't have him in my main lineup, but I don't have a well, I guess it'd be Alex Caruso if we're just going to go the super chalk side, but we'll get a little bit different with it. I'm happy to just say, no matter what, he's somebody you should be getting to in some capacity, even though he's not in my main lineup. Chet Holmgren, you're white of the night.
I like it. Neutral to the field on him right now. Yesterday, nuke of the night, Nikola Jokic. White of the night, Nikola Jokic. The double champ was in the building. Nikola Jokic, top scorer in the winning lineup yesterday. Today, nuke of the night, Luka Doncic. White of the night, the double champ is in the building once again. Luka Doncic, white of the night, nuke of the night. He's got both belts on both shoulders, and he's taking you to glory today. He's the guy that I am most over the field on of anybody on the slate. It's Luka season.
All right, go Luka. Good luck for you. I'm playing just tons of LeBron, so go me.
I just refreshed mine again. I have 27% of LeBron now.
Okay.
Who is your biggest fade?
Oh, I have virtually, where did it go? I have virtually 0%. Well, I have no TJ McConnell, so there was that. I have, I'm just finishing this up. I just pasted everything over. Got 0 Dorian Finney-Smith at 29%.
I have 15%. So that is a pretty big fade. I have 17% of a 45% owned Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, I get it.
That one's scary.
It's just because the position has so many other great point guards you can take shots on. Like Lillard's off the table, but like Morant has really low ownership, 7,800. You've got Ant, who you can play there. Sim's really not getting you to Ant today, and I totally get it. Halliburton, he's just sitting there underneath Luka. And if you're playing as much Luka as you're getting to, you're not going to get to Halliburton that much.
Well, I guess I need Milwaukee to win, but the only guy that I have from Milwaukee in any sort of real volume is Giannis. So going to need him to drop a 45, 15, 15. Cully Poston with the super chat. Does Porter Jr. still get good run and Rollins just stays on the bench? Sorry, I'm late. We don't know. We are projecting Kevin Porter Jr. to stay in the rotation for Milwaukee. We are projecting Ryan Rollins to not play, but we don't know that. I think it's possible that Kevin Porter Jr. plays less than what we have him in here for today, for sure. I'd be surprised if it's more. I think AJ Green and Gary Trent would both be ahead of him. I think Taurean Prince could conceivably get more playing time ahead of him. And the fact that he's 4,800 now with Dame back, I don't know how you could do it.
I have about 30% Chet. Hope you didn't mush him, Eric. That's like at the field. And also, if what I said had the power to hurt ankles, let me just tell you, I would be using it for other things, not this.
Who are some of your biggest stands?
Just put that in the trash on cue. I'm just going to go into the DK thing because my sheet is just going so slow. It's because I think it's the OddsShopper thing, the screen sharing it, but that's my fault. Nemhard, I have 79% of. Ended up, my biggest stand is by far Nickeil Alexander-Walker relative to the field. I have a lot of him. I won't say it out loud because it makes me embarrassed. LeBron James, very much in his corner for today as well. Alex Caruso, got a lot of him. Giannis, tons of him. Luka, tons of him. Santi Aldama, tons of him. Pascal Siakam, tons of him. Randall. If I could play 6 power forwards on today's slate, I would do it. But unfortunately, that's cheating.
Brad Kaufman hit us with a super chat. Said, thoughts on Miles Turner? He's my second most exposed player right now. He is in 56% of my stuff. I think he's too cheap at 6,100. I think there's minutes upside on Turner right now. He's a guy that I have quite a bit of. What are you doing with Turner?
I'm pretty neutral now. I was under and now I'm pretty neutral.
Okay. S&P says 90% Marvin Bagley because if you don't take risks every once in a while, what the hell's the point?
I would rather do a lot of things other than play Marvin Bagley today. Like just about anything.
Let's see. Do I have any?
I ended up with 0. Did I? Yep, 0.
10% Marvin Bagley in a playoff slate in 2025. Man, there's not a time in my life where I would have thought that was a real statement.
You just said it, and it is true. Wow.
Gross,
pretty absurd.
Dude.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd.
We got about
when you think about it.
4 minutes to go until lock. Greg and I will be live on playback, hanging out, watching some basketball, talking shop. We have late swaps to do. Yeah, the 7:30 late swap isn't going to be all that valuable. We're going to have like 8 minutes of game time at that point. I would have loved for that game to start at 8. That would have been pretty helpful for late swaps. But swapping into Minnesota and the Lakers later tonight, you want to make sure that whatever you have, whatever lineup or lineups you have at that point in time, you want to make sure you're optimizing them before that game gets started. So we got nukes of the night. We got whites of the night. We got everything in here. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Not really. I mean, obviously, 4 minutes here until the end of the hour. You guys can jump over to Playback. Start going to playback.tv/Stokastic. Get ready to watch those guys and be able to watch some playoff basketball. It's a lot more fun with friends. I mean, I'm not going to the Timberwolves game tonight unless I can go with a buddy and, get out of work here in time. But we'll see. That's probably a 50-50 flip here at this point in time. I've got some baseball lineups getting in here as well. Just got done with everything there. don't have a ton to add. I suppose just kind of be on the alert for, any kind of news that you might get about, well, there's not really any news you're waiting for, but Memphis, that's the one team that's still just extremely volatile to me. I'm going to be taking some risks with some different guys in large field tournaments. Probably nothing crazy. I mean, it's Morant and Aldama that I'm getting to in my main lineup, but yeah, I guess I'm cheering against Tyrese Halliburton. I'm a bad Iowa State fan.
You and me both, brother. You and me both. Tell the people what you got going on right now.
Yeah, got a lot. We got Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks over on the OddsShopper channel if you guys want to check that out for betting content. This is my 4th year doing it now, which is kind of wild that we've gotten to that point. 5 years at the company as of last week, which is pretty insane as well. Got that going. Obviously, we'll be doing MLB Live before locks. I think tomorrow morning I'm on it with Lofty. I think I saw that right. Maybe I was wrong. Greg can correct me. He is the boss man with that stuff. And then got tons of threads going on. Follow me over at Eric Lindquist on X. Going to be throwing home runs out there for the people. Some random bets here and there throughout the entire NBA playoffs. I did have 2 bets. Bobby Portis, I did like the over of 10.5 points there for him. Feel pretty good about that still being a shift that they want to get to some more Bobby Portis minutes. And I do think there's a world where they play alongside each other, Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, and they're not completely immune to it. Nothing that really happened there in game 1 was all that appeasing for them. Damian Lillard being back out there takes some of the offensive issues that they were having there, trying to create offense with other guys out of play. So hopefully he's able to play enough there. But yeah, check out Playback right now.
There we go, everybody. Thank you for being here. Myself and Greg live on Playback for the next hour. Come join us. Come watch the game. Subscribe at Playback or just hang out and listen to us for nothing. Good luck, everybody. Get your lineups in. You got about 90 seconds before your lock, but we will be on Playback shortly. Enjoy the night, everybody. Have some fun. We'll talk to you later.